Let's talk about Shakespeare. Let's talk about Twelfth Night. So hi everybody, I'm Stuart Carden, Artistic Director of Kansas City Repertory Theater, pronouns he, him, and this is...
Hi everyone, I'm Nelson Eusebio, the Associate Artistic Director here at KC Rep, and also the Director of 12th Night.
Classics have been a part of your work as a director, and I would love to hear you talk a little bit about why classics for you, and in particular, would love to hear you talk about how you think about classic works and how identity shows up in that work. Let's hear a little bit about why Shakespeare.
Yeah, absolutely. Shakespeare was not always the thing for me. When I was in graduate school at the Yale School of Drama, we do a year and a half of Shakespeare. We take both the acting classes as well as directing classes around it. And I had a professor named Peter Francis James who taught Shakespearean acting, and his approach really helped me understand that Shakespeare was not about, trochees or spondees or, always respecting the verse. They were really about this visceral language and how it affects you and how it affects the actors and the characters. You start to realize the genius of Shakespeare when you realize that he is writing in a rhythm and choosing words that are designed to put the actor's body in a state of being that matches the characters. And so once that sort of happened, and Peter Francis James is a man of color, but he very much felt like Shakespeare was his. That really ignited that, along with some of my other training and my storytelling desire for like big, epic kind of storytelling. Those two things sort of merged: my love of language, my desire to do big, epic things. Shakespeare writes big, epic plays. His language is beautiful. All those things kind of cohere. That place of identity, I think, is really about us, especially as people of color who have not traditionally had these opportunities, getting to reclaim some of our own training and some of the Western canon, and especially Shakespeare, who's one of our greatest playwrights ever. Despite what Hallie thinks, just kidding. But he gives you these big, huge opportunities and these big, huge asks, and big, huge opportunities that we often don't get a chance to as people of color. As people of color, oftentimes you are in plays that are specifically for those people, as opposed to this, where we are very much so taking in, reclaiming, and making Shakespeare our own and taking ownership of his work in a different kind of way. The example I always like to use is, it's not about Orsino is played by an actor who's African American or black, but it's actually a black Orsino. This is an Orsino with swag, this presence, his unapologetically who he is, unapologetically black, and that is our Orsino, that is our Olivia, that is our Vesti. They, rather than doing the typical, we're setting Shakespeare in a period of time, we're doing the thing where we're building the costumes, the design, the music around who these actors are as people. 12th Night begins September 6th, Spencer Theater on UMKC's campus.
And please buy your tickets now at kcrep.org.